If you've ever been stuck in the constant dopamine chase, constantly checking your phone, looking for notifications, refreshing your phone, scrolling, and you just can't stop that chase, then today's video is for you. And I'm going to give you something that goes way beyond the normal techniques. It goes way beyond the normal ADHD stuff. It really goes to a level of rewiring your identity, however, being very, very practical. So nothing big for you to do, really a powerful short tool that you can use to overcome this fixation and constant checking and chasing. But first things first, my name is Lydia Wilmsen. I'm a high performance and mindset coach for overachievers, so to say. So for people who are achieving a lot, but still not feeling recognized. And I work with them on finally getting them that recognition that they are craving. And here on the channel, I talk about all things conscious creation, manifestation, business growth, life and personal development, and everything that you need to basically create a fulfilling life for you and your loved ones. And if you want to work with me, check out the description. You'll find the Mind Mastery community, which is a powerful, powerful way to get started. We have weekly live coaching with Hot Seat in there and lots of trainings, lots of courses, and it's only $200 a month. It is massive value. It doesn't exist like this here on YouTube. And if you want, of course, more support, one-to-one support, there are also options for that. So check out the description for all of that. And if you're new here, thank you for subscribing, supporting the channel. Of course, if you like the content, liking, commenting, yes, share something in the comments, share your questions, and I might make a video about that then, about your specific question. Okay, but now let's get into today's topic. So people nowadays know even more this need for constant stimulation. They are constantly checking their phones, scrolling, checking for evidence. Like when you come from conscious creation and manifestation, you know this, like don't check for evidence, don't check the 3D. But people get addicted to that. You constantly refresh your phone and see if someone has already messaged, if someone has signed up. And it's so easy to fall into this trap. And usually, you know, like there are a lot of techniques out there, like external structure, get an accountability partner, do things to really still get the dopamine rewarding work for you. The thing is, it all stays on that level. And I want to share something with you today that basically goes way beyond that. So it's not about further stimulation, so to say. It's really about shifting and reframing what is happening there for you. Because first, when we come from conscious creation, it is very important to understand when you're constantly checking if something has already happened, if someone has already messaged and so on, you're not being the version of you who already has what you want to have, who already has what you claim you're having through, through the work, through affirmations, through visualization and so on. So you're basically telling the universe, your higher self, I'm not that person. If you're checking, you're not that person who already has. So it's really important to stop that cycle, to stop this inner feeling of I need to check to finally get evidence that it's working, because it's counterproductive. You're always going back into the version of you who doesn't have that what you want, who is claiming again and again and again, I don't have that. This is why I'm checking if it's finally there. If you know with every fiber of your being that this is already yours, you don't have to check. So it's very important that you learn how to stop that cycle, how to interrupt that pattern. And the other thing is, of course, when you come from ADHD or from, like this dopamine chase personality, then understand if you keep working only on that level, yes, you can only manage the symptoms, but we can go deeper. We can basically go to the root and solve the symptoms on a root level, and then you don't have them anymore. And even if it's not so bad, you're checking, but it's not to a really like ADHD level yet with you, but you know this feeling. Then you also know that it drains your energy. So it takes your energy, it takes your focus again and again onto your phone, onto the checking. And this is energy that you don't have in order to really go for what you want, to focus on what you want, building your empire, building your business, loving in your relationship. So you constantly draw or leak your energy. And this is, of course, also super counterproductive. So I want to give you a reframe today. It's really not a long video. I want to give you a reframe because you have to understand what is happening when you're checking the phone, when you're checking for notifications for finally perhaps someone has messaged. You're still craving even the negative stimulation, because when you're checking, you're actually not really sure. You are more sure that no one has messaged, no one has shown up, no one has signed up, no one has on the dating platform messaged or whatever. It's coming from a place of scarcity, it's coming from a place of insecurity. And when you're checking, like this constant need for checking is giving you stimulation still, even though you get rejection because no one has messaged and you get like negative stimulation, it still creates a little spike, and this is what you're getting addicted to, and this is what we have to shift. So I had to understand that when I was caught in this pattern of like constant checking, I was like, why is this even happening? Because, you know, like, what does it give me? And I understood, oh, it's this constant stimulation that we nowadays crave. And this is what I had to overcome. And the reframe that I used and that I teach my clients is basically to bring your energy back, or to train your dopamine, to train your brain to get the dopamine not from external triggers but from internal wins. So what I do nowadays is, instead of saying, okay, I have to check if someone has messaged, I reframe that into, I don't check because my focus and my win and my dopamine hit comes from me holding the frequency of already having what I want. So the longer I don't check, the longer I hold the frequency of already having what I want. So I go, it's not a competition, but it's almost like I put the energy back into myself, into not checking. So I make the win, the not checking versus the checking. I get the kind of stimulation from the inner work of holding the frequency, of knowing that the longer I'm not checking, the longer I'm not falling into that pattern, the longer I can do that, the longer I stay in the vibration, in the frequency of already having what I want. And this is working for me. So you understand, I break the pattern through an internal shift, through an internal reframe. And this is massively powerful, because then you don't need any accountability partners anymore. You don't need anything anymore, because you bring it back to you, to your inner shift, to knowing what the real work is. The real work is not checking, is not, oh my God, I hope something has happened. Oh my God, I hope it's true. No, it is the longer I stay calm and don't check and trust, the more I'm building the frequency of that what I want. And then it's really almost a competition with myself. It's like, hey, do I want to check? Or do I understand that even if I wait 5 minutes longer, I'm having 5 minutes of building trust? And then I can say another 5 minutes or another 10 minutes. And this is how you're retraining your brain to focus on not checking, because this gives you now the chase or the dopamine hit. It's not anymore the checking and the focusing and destroying or scattering your energy. It's like, the more I stay focused on that, the more I focus on my inner reality, the more I'm building the frequency, and the more I'm getting my results. So it's a reframe. And then, of course, it's practice. It's the same practice as if you're constantly checking. It's also practice, because you're constantly checking and you're rewiring your mind to constantly check. And now if you're sitting there, in the beginning, just 1 minute, okay, I keep it 1 minute calm. And instead I breathe into my new identity. Okay, the next time I do 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 1 hour. Perhaps at some point I say I only check twice a day, because I also have to check my notifications if someone is saying something or asking me a question or wants to pay me and wants the link to pay me. Of course I'm going to check my messages, because then I can send, but it's coming from a place of I'm holding the frequency of already being that version, instead of like, oh my God, I need the dopamine hit of no one has messaged, oh my God, but it's still a spike. or I get the dopamine hit of someone has messaged, but usually it's the rejection, because you can't, like, usually people don't get notifications of payments coming in like every second. Or if you had that, you wouldn't check for that. You would check for something else. You get it? So when I bring this back to the frequency and the vibration and bringing it back to that as my motivation and also as my celebration and as my reward, I shift from outside stimulation to inward stimulation, to inward motivation, intrinsic motivation. And this changes the whole pattern. And there is a little bit of a shift, of course, necessary. In the beginning, as I said, you might start with a minute, with 5 minutes, with 1 hour, but at some point you are down to, let's check notifications twice a day to see if I have to respond and send a payment link, or if you're dating someone, to see if that person has responded and of course wants to meet me for a date and then go somewhere, or if you're in a loving relationship but you're working on the relationship because your partner is not showing up as you want them to, for example, never responds quickly to your messages. So instead of constantly checking, you're checking twice a day, but of course you're checking because your partner might say like, hey, let's have dinner together. Shall I book here or there? You know, and then of course you want to answer it. But you're not checking for validation anymore. You're not checking for stimulation anymore. The stimulation or the hit for you comes from staying away from the phone and holding the vibration. This gives you the gratification. This like, oh wow, today I did 1 hour before I checked again. And then it's almost like a little tease. Can I wait 5 more minutes? Can I wait 5 more minutes? Another 5 minutes. So at some point, this will give you the tease and the stimulation versus the gratification, the instant gratification that usually comes with a negative stimuli. So give this a go, try this out, and this will rewire your blueprint from negative stimulation, constant dopamine hit need, to I'm totally at peace in myself and I hold the power. I have the power and control here versus the phone or the external stimulation. It is a really powerful feeling, you know? You can see that how I'm sitting here. This like, I have the control. I choose when I want to check. And I can wait another 5 minutes. I can even wait another hour. So give this a go. Practice that. And then let me know how it goes. It is really a powerful, powerful reframe, and it goes way beyond the normal techniques because we are not working with the symptoms anymore. We are working with the root. We are rewiring on the root level. If you want more like that, and if you actually want to hang out with other high achievers who apply conscious creation and manifestation techniques and who create epic, epic results in their lives, join Mind Mastery, or of course, check out my one-to-one offers. Okay, until the next video, thank you for subscribing, liking, commenting, sharing. Until, as I already said, the next video.